So I thought I would do a quick audio recording here just to let you guys know this range trip really didn't go as planned. Let's go ahead and get into the video and you'll see what I'm talking about.
What's up guys, this is Enhander from Fear Productions, and I actually remembered my tripod. So things a little bit easier today. I'm going to be testing out my Mosin Nagant. I got a Vortex scope on it. It's a scout scope. I think it's a 3x7, and it's a very windy day today. Going to target out at 25 yards. I'm just going to make sure that everything's kosher, I can hit it. And then I also brought my M16 clone out and the Canik TP9 SF. So we'll be doing a little bit of shooting here. For the Nagant, we're using Red Army Standards 148 grain full metal jacket 7.62x54R. I'm going to load this round in. Now, one thing I've noticed, I have an Archangel stock on my Nagant here, and I have noticed that this magazine sometimes does not feed reliably. It could just be because I'm not loading the rounds properly. So I've made sure I've staggered the rims on these like you're supposed to. So let's see what happens. Gonna dial it all the way up here because my eyes. Okay, that knocked my hearing protection off. So that hurt a little bit. That one did not land on the target, so I'm going to try and shoot a little higher just to see if I'm hitting high or low. Well, that one didn't hit either. Okay, I got a shot on target now. I was aiming at the very bottom of the target and I hit probably about 10 o'clock on the target on the very edge. So let me make some adjustments and I'll be right back.
And here's where the problem starts.
Okay, I think I know where I'm hitting at now. I've got the scope adjusted, so it looks like it's hitting the bullseye. Had to get another pair of Ear Pro to put underneath this because of the cheek riser on this thing keeps knocking this ear muff off, and I'm starting to catch up with me. So let's take 5 more shots and make sure we're hitting the bullseye here.
So here's exactly what happened. Apparently the Red Army Standard ammo got stuck in the chamber. So there's currently a swelled casing in my chamber that I did not have the tools to get out of said chamber, so that kind of shut down my testing on my scope and the Nagant. The rifle is not fine.
Okay, so Nagant's down for the count, at least for now. I have noticed with that Red Army Standard ammunition, I have very odd problems with feeding or ejecting. Well, this one didn't extract. It actually looks like it's seized up in the chamber. So I gotta mess around with that, but here's what I produced before everything went haywire. That was my first reference shot. Figured out then it hit there, or that one right there. Adjusted it a little bit, and it put out this group, and then I moved it down and started this group. So it's about all I could test right now, unfortunately. These things happen, especially when you're dealing with a rifle from 1939, and I know I've heard a lot of good things about that Red Army standard ammunition, but I think the batch that I got hasn't been very good because I've had nothing but trouble with it, both out of my Nagant and out of my SVT-40. So I'm gonna get things switched over here. I'm gonna pull out the old M16 and be right back.
So first things first, there is audio to me shooting here. I didn't do any talking during the shooting because there was a couple that arrived, and the gentleman was teaching his girlfriend's daughter how to shoot, and I didn't want to really interrupt, so I waited for them to get situated, and then I began shooting here just to get some footage. Well, the problems stemming from the Nagant seem to roll over into my M16A2 clone here. As you'll notice through the footage here, I had a couple failure to feeds, but about 80% of the time I ran into the bolt not locking back on the last round fired. There it was right there. Now I used 3 different magazines that are known good magazines. I had a Gen 2 30 round PMag that is in the firearm now. I had a Stanag, just a general GI mag, and a Gen 3 10 round PMag. All of those magazines work fine in my other AR-15s. It was kind of frustrating when I was getting all these different random random problems with this AR being at one of my favorite firearms. It's kind of disheartening. Now, as you'll see at the end of the video, I'll post a picture of the target that I shot at. It was about 27 yards is what my rangefinder said, and this rifle pretty much ripped the center out of that target. That being said, I did some research when I got home, and it turns out that the problem was, well, what everyone thinks the problem is my buffer spring. I bought a UTG A2 buttstock assembly, included the stock, the buffer tube, the buffer, and the spring. Well, what I found out with the help of the very informative and wise people at FAL Files is the buffer spring that UTG ships with that is generally the carbine length spring, not the rifle length spring. Now, you would think that they would include the correct spring for the the A1, A2 stock setup, but that doesn't appear to be the case. So I have since purchased 2 different rifle length springs just to be on the safe side. I got an Anderson Manufacturing one, and I also got a DS Arms one. They're on the way. I should have them here in the next day or two, and then it'll be back out the range to see if that fixed the problem. The other problem that was noted could be that the hammer, and there's some kind of timing issue between the hammer and the disconnector, which is very well possible because the trigger assembly fire control group that I have in that AR is a cheaper one. I actually think it was an Anderson Manufacturing one. Now, I typically have had really good luck with Anderson parts, but I noticed this trigger having some trouble when I first purchased it to put in my other AR build that I just got finished with, and it had some finicky issues there, so I ended up buying an ALG trigger, putting it in my 308, my SIG 716, and then its trigger went into that AR build to finish it out, so I had that extra trigger lying around. If that turns out to be the case, that trigger is getting thrown away and I'm getting an ALG trigger for it. But I digress. That was my day at the range. I did shoot the C39, or I'm sorry, the Canik TP9SF a little bit. Always one of my favorite handguns to shoot. Should have taken a picture of the target. I did pretty decent. It was a 10 yards. But all that being said, I guess I get to go back out to the range on the next nice day, and after I install the new spring and see how my M16A2 clone does. So I'm gonna go ahead and post the picture of the ammo or the target right now, and I appreciate you guys sticking around and watching the video. If you could rate, comment, subscribe, like the video. You know, if you have any questions, comments, suggestions, please feel free to leave that and talk in the comment section. So thanks guys, and have a great day.